Hello once again. How are you doing? How is everything going? I hope everything is going well. And today we are, I think, celebrating Afan in Ethiopia. So this way, I would like to say Happy Epiphany. Enjoy your holidays, and I'm going to bring you the second part of our session of the Introduction to Psychology course, and that is also psychology. Last time we discussed about the general concept of psychology, including the definitions of psychology. So today we are going to discuss about the course of psychology. In the first part, we have discussed that psychology can be considered in two different ways: as a old traditional definition, the first definition, and also the modern definition. And we said that the old traditional definition, that the psychology was first derived from the words of the two words of psyche and logos, the two Greek words. And psyche means soul, spirit, or mind, and logos refers to study. So psychology is traditionally defined as the study of spirit, soul, and mind, whereas the modern definition, after lots of steps and procedures and different schools of thoughts emerged, modern definition of psychology is that it is a scientific study of mental process and behavior, or simply it is a study of behavior and mental process of human beings and animals. And so today we are going to pass to the second part, which is goals of psychology. Goals of psychology. In almost all universities, the second part of the course is goals of psychology. So the scientific study of mind and behavior, we said. So what is the purpose? What is the function of the study of psychology? What are its goals? There might be several specific objectives, but the major general goals of psychology are four. Currently, there are four. The first one is to describe behavior. The first one is to describe behavior. That is the first goal of psychology. What do we mean by when to describe? To describe behavior. So it's the first goal, and we have to first be able to describe certain behavior of animal or human, so that we can better understand the behavior to solve any related or considerable problems with that specific problem. No one is really able to solve any problem without understanding it. So to understanding, we need to be able to describe what the behavior is first. So in this first goal, simply it is to critically observe what's happening, what is there, and then to describe it. There is no any intervention, there is no any manipulation at this stage. There is only critical observation and trying to describe what is happening, what is there, what is the problem, what is the situation, what is really under concern of the study, what really needs our intervention. So that is simply to observe behavior, then to describe a problem. So the question that begins with the word what is dealt with under the goal to describe. Hence, for example, a teacher might want to understand the behavior of students in a classroom interaction. So the first thing he or she should do is that she should sit in the class and observe what the students are doing while classroom interaction is going on. How do the students participate? During the participation opportunity, what do the students do? How do they respond to the teacher question? How many girls, how many boys? Is that the front seaters, back seaters, middle seaters? And what is the type of the question? How do they respond? Do they raise their hand? Do they simply talk? Whatever. So the observer should come up with certain checklists, certain guidelines that can lead the observer to understand or to understand that what the behavior is going on or what's happening. So the researcher or the psychologist should be able to describe what's really happening in the classroom as an observer. So the first goal of psychology is to describe. There are different research methods that can be used to describe the behaviors, like naturalistic observation is one research method that doesn't have any manipulation of variables, but simply the observation of the researcher. It can also be used as a case study. Case study can also be used. Maybe also correlational study. What are the relationship between variables? You can also use surveys, self-report, inventories can be used to describe what behavior is really happening over there. So the researchers might start by observing human behavior and then describing the problem. So by understanding what's happening, psychologists can then work on learning more about why certain behavior is happening. So before trying to answer why certain behavior is happening, he or she should be able to understand what is happening, what's really there, what really needs the concern of the researcher, and so on. So that is the first goal of psychology, which is to describe. The other is the second major goal of psychology is to explain the observed behavior, the described behavior. We need to understand why the behavior is happening. To explain really is important, because describing certain behavior is not enough. Not merely describing certain behavior is enough to understand certain purpose. So we need to understand, why do people do what they do? What factors contribute to the development of human beings? What factors contribute to the personality of humans? What factors contribute to what is already happened? What is the reason behind what's happening? What is the reason behind the behavior? What is the reason behind the action, the activities, the overt action? So in order to understand this, we might be able to use theories, different theories, development theories, social behavior theories, and so on. Or might be experimental theories whatsoever, there to be able to answer the reasons why the behaviors are happening. So the second goal of psychology is dealt with the questions that begins with why. Why is this behavior happening? Why is this thing happening? For example, we might observe a student who is always sleeping in the classroom. And then we may ask, why is she sleeping? Why is this girl sleeping in the classroom? So we might go to search for the reasons, the causing factors that is becoming the serious problem for the student. So we might come up with the lot of labor workers in a home. The student might come from distant place, so she might be very weak and come to sleep in the class. So we need to understand what's happening. She is sleeping. Why she is sleeping? We come up with the reasons. We need to understand psychology. So the other and the third important goal from the four major goals is to predict. After knowing what's happening and why it's happening, from the information that we get from our investigation of what's happening, why it's happening, now we are able to predict the behavior, which means if we know that the student is really sleeping every day in the first class or second class, if this thing happens at a certain specific time, we're going to say that why the behavior is happening, when it's happening, and maybe how it's happening. That's predicting. If we know what's happening, why it's happening, it's easy to understand that it will happen again. We can forecast it. We can predict it, that it's likely to happen again, unless certain intervention has been made. That's why the fourth goal is important. The fourth goal is important in order to stop the problem from happening. That is to control the behavior. To control the behavior. I say that the first goal is to describe what's happening. The second goal is to explain why it's happening. The third goal is to predict based on the information that we have got from describing and explaining the behavior. And now the fourth and the final and the important goal is to control. To control means to intervene, to change the behavior. Now, doing every effort, exerting our maximum effort in order to solve the problems. That is to control, to change, to persuade the guy or the person in order to act in a certain way. We need to control, we need to intervene, we need to solve the problem. Now we have seen the problem, now we have come up with the reasons, now we need to come up with intervention mechanism. We need which psychological method, which counseling technique is used to solve this problem, which intervention technique, which psychiatric methodology is better for this problem in order to be solved. So generally, these are the four basic and major goals of psychology: to describe what's happening, what, to explain why it's happening, why, then to predict will it happen in the future, then to solve the problem, to intervene, to control the problem, to persuade the person in order to change the behavior so that he or she will be in well-being of mind. That is the major goal of psychology. So this is what I'll say. Have a good time. Enjoy this. If you enjoy this video, please like, share, and comment. I'd like to hear from you how you are enjoying this one. እስቲ አሳጥሬ ደግሞ በአማርኛና በኦሮምኛ ልድገምላችሁ። ትናንትና ዲስከስ ያደረግነው ነገር የሳይኮሎጂ ወይም የስነ ልቦና ኮርስን ስንማር በማንኛውም ኢትዮጵያ ዩኒቨርሲቲ ውስጥ አንድ የተቀመጠ ዝርዝር ወይ ደግሞ ኮርስ አውትላይን አለ። በዛ ላይ የመጀመሪያው የሳይኮሎጂ ምንነት ወይም ደግሞ ኮንሰፕት ነው፣ ጀነራል ኮንሰፕት ነው። ሁለተኛው ደግሞ ጎልፍ ሳይኮሎጂ ነው። በጀነራል ኮንሰፕቱ ትናንትና በተነጋገርነው መሰረት ወይ ደግሞ በፓርት 1 በተነጋገርነው መሰረት ሳይኮሎጂ ማለት ሳይንሳዊ በሆነ መንገድ የሰው ልጅን ባህሪና አእምሮ አስተሳሰብን ማጥናት ማለት ነው ብለናል። እንዲሁም ደግሞ ዛሬ የምናየው አራቱ የሳይኮሎጂ ግቦች፣ ሳይኮሎጂ ምንድነው፣ ስራው ምንድነው፣ የሚያጠናው ለምንድነው፣ መዳረሻው ምንድነው የሚለው አራት ዋና ግቦች እንዳሉት የመጀመሪያው to describe እንደሆነ ያ ማለት በአማርኛ ማለት እንችላለን ያለውን ነገር አይቶ መግለጽ ማለት ነው፣ መናገር መቻል ማለት ነው። ሁለተኛው ደግሞ to explain ነው። ያ ደግሞ ያ የሆነው ነገር የተከሰተው ነገር ለምንድን ነው፣ ምክንያቱ ምንድነው፣ መጀመሪያ ምንድነው የተከሰተው። ሁለተኛው ደግሞ to explain ስንል ደግሞ ለምንድን ነው የተከሰተው ብለን ማስቀመጥ እንችላለን። አንድ አስተማሪ የተማሪዎችን የተሳትፎ ችግር ለመቅረፍ ክላስ ገብቶ ኦብዘርቭ ማድረግ ይችላል፣ ማየት ይችላል። ካየ በኋላ ያየውን ነገር ሳይጨምርበት ሳይቀንስበት ሲያስቀምጥ ያ ዲስክራይብ ይባላል። ስለዚህ ለሚቀጥለው አካል ደግሞ ይሄ ነገር ለምንድን ነው የተከሰተው፣ ተማሪዎች ክላስ ውስጥ ተኛሉ ወይስ ይሳተፋሉ፣ ምንድነው ከዚህ ጀርባ ያለው ምክንያት፣ that's to explain ማድረግ መቻል ማለት ነው። ሶስተኛው to predict ነው። ይሄ ደግሞ ፎርካስት ማድረግ ነው። ይሄ በእንዲህ ከቀጠለ በሚቀጥለው ጊዜያት መቼ እንዴት ነው ዳግም ይሄ ባህሪ የሚከሰተው። የተማሪዎች አፕቲቲዩድ ቴስት ዩኒቨርሲቲ ተማሪዎች የስኬት ሬታቸውን ያመለክታል ይባላል። ለምሳሌ ሃይ ስኩል ላይ ይሄን ያህል ያመጣ ተማሪ ዩኒቨርሲቲ ላይ ደግሞ ይሄን ያህል ያመጣ ይችላል ብሎ ፎርካስት ማድረግ ይቻላል። አሁን ክፍል ውስጥ የምተኛ የሴል ልጅ ተማሪ ክላስ ሲገባ የምተኛ እንቅልፏን የምተኛ ለምን የምተኛ ትተኛለች፣ ዲስክራይብ እናደርጋለን። ለምን የምተኛው ስራ ስለሚበዛባት ትምህርት ቤት ቤቷ ከትምህርት ቤት ሩቅ ስለሆነ ደግሞ ስለምት ወይ ደግሞ የተለያዩ ምክንያቶች ሊኖሩ ይችላሉ ይገለጻሉ ማለት ነው። ከዛ በኋላ ሶስተኛው ፕሬዲክት ማለት ይሄ እንዲህ ከቀጠለ ይቺ ልጅ ነገ በዚህ ሰዓት በዚህ ቦታ ከተኛለች፣ ሌላው ደግሞ ትምህርቷን ትወድቃለች፣ ችግሩ ይባባሳል ብለን እናስቀምጣለን። ስለዚህ እናደርጋለን፣ ኢንተርቪው እናደርጋለን፣ ቼንጅ እናደርጋለን፣ ኮንትሮል እናደርጋለን፣ ጣልቃ እንገባለን። የተለያዩ የሳይኮሎጂ ወይም የስነ ልቦና ነገሮች ጥቅምን ችግሩ እንዲፈታ እናደርጋለን ማለት ነው። ይሄን ይመስላል። በኦሮምኛ ደግሞ ስደግምላችሁ afaan oromooti yommuu leessin deebi'u bagana gaanuftan ittiin jirtu nagaa keessanii kun paartii sadaffaadha paartii lammaffaadha yeroo saayikooloojii barannu inni jalqabaa yeroo hundumaa definishinii saayikooloojii jechuudha kan nuti ilaallu inni lammaffaa immoo rules of psychology kan jedhamu sana ilaallaa jechuudha. Rules of psychology definishinii saayikooloojiidha akka kaleessa yookiin paartii qofaa keessa dubbannetti saayikooloojii define yommuu goonu the scientific method of the scientific study of mental process and human behavior jenneerra akkana jechuun karaa saayinsawaa ta'een amala namaatii fi yaada namaa qorachuudha jennee lafa keenyarra har'ammoo goals of psychology kan jedhu ilaalla. Goals of psychology jechuun galmi saayikolojiidha qorannoon saayikolojiidha maali jennee yeroo lafa keenyu waan afurtu jira jechuudha. Saayikoloojii sirriitti hubachuudhaaf jalqaba to describe kan jedhu goolii yookiis galma qabaachuu describe jechuun waan tokko ilaalanii waan sana sirriitti ofitti hin dabaleen itti turanisin ibsuu danda'u jechuudha. To describe what's happening what jennee deebisnaa jechuudha. Lamaffaan to explain ila to explain jechuun immoo wanti ta'e sun maaliif ta'e kana duuba rakkoon jiru maali sababni kana maali why isa jedhu deebisaa jechuudha. Sadaffaan to predict wanni kuni akka amma argine kanaaf akka amma sababa salaf keenya kana itti fufataanaan maaltu ta'uu danda'a. Barsiisaan tokko barattoota kilaasisaa keessaa baratan hirmaannaa isaanii yeroo ilaalutti barattoota rafan yoo arge barattuun barbaadu irratti xiyyeeffatee jechuu barbaade barattuun kun maaliif rafti jedhee rafuun ishee describe hin rafti jedhee galmeessaa jechuudha. Wantoota baay'ee jira gaan sanarraa tokko gaafan fakkeenya isin fudhate maaliif immoo rafti why explain godhaa jechuudha. Yoo akkanatti itti fufte immoo borsaa meeqatti rafti predictii godhaa jechuudha. Rakkoon ishee irra ga'u maal mana barumsaa kufuu dandeessi predictii godhaa jechuudha. Arfaffaan to control inni kun to'achuu jechuudha rakkoo sana furuu jechuudha. So kana arfantu major psychology goals jedhamu jechuudha. So wantoota arfan gaaffilee arfan as keessatti ka'uu danda'an keessaa the four major questions that we can ask for example for the behavior of the children. What are they doing? What are these children doing? What are these students doing? This is describing. እነዚህ ተማሪዎች ምን እየሰሩ ነው? እነዚህ ልጆች ምን እያደረጉ ነው? እጆሎን ኩን ማልጎት ጅሩ በረቶን ኩን ማልጎት this is describing. Describe ጎኔ ጋር ፊደና ሌሎች ናቸው describe አድርገን ነው ይሄን ጥያቄ መለስ የምንችለው። ሌላው why are they doing that? ለምንድን ነው ይሄንን የሚያደርጉት? ማለፍቱ ከነገሩ this is to explain. So when we explain we come up with the reasons behind what they are doing. The third one is what would happen if they continue this way? If I don't respond or if I respond this way, then we predict yoon giddu gale maal ta'uu danda'a, yoon giddu galu dhabaadhe maal ta'uu danda'a, yoon tarkaan fudhadhe maal ta'uu danda'a, yoon tarkaan fudhachuudhus maal ta'uu danda'a, እርምጃ ቢወስድ ባይወስድ ምን ሊሆን ይችላል ብለን ፕሬዲክት እናደርጋለን ማለት ነው። የመጨረሻው what can I do to get them to stop doing that? What can I do? How can I solve this problem? How can I make them stop what they are doing? ይሄንን የማይፈለግ ባህሪ እንዴት ማቆም ይችላሉ? ምን ባረግ ነው የሚያቆሙት? ዮ ማልጎዴተኒ አመለከነሳን አብሱ ደንዳ ጀኔቱ ደብሰ እንኩንሞ this is to control the behavior. So these are the major four goals of psychology. Enjoy your time. Thank you very much. Then yo kana jalatan like, subscribe, share ጎዳ ከወደዳችሁት እንቀጥላለን። ፓርት 3 ላይ እንቀጥላለን። ሳይኮሎጂን በዚህ መልኩ በሳምንት 2-3 ያቀርብኩላችሁ የተሻለ ስነ ልቦና ወይም ደግሞ የሳይኮሎጂን እውቀት ኮንሰፕት እንድታገኙ ግንዛቤ እንድታገኙ ይረዳችኋል ብዬ አስባለሁ። Thank you so much. Have a good time. See you next time. Bye bye. Shalom.